Whenever you see one of those huge North Korean state events with the massive military parades and the cheering crowds, if you look closely, you'll spot her. There's this figure, usually with a little smile, standing just a step behind the supreme leader. She's easily one of the most powerful women on the entire planet, and yet she's still a complete mystery. That's Yo Jong, Kim Jong-un's younger sister. And for years, this is exactly how the world saw her, as his shadow. Just a constant presence, always in the background of power. Whether she was handing him documents or even holding an ashtray for him, she was always there. But don't be fooled. Her role is so much more than just being an assistant. She is his absolute closest and most trusted advisor, a key political ally, and a core member of that ruling family's inner circle. She isn't just his sister, she's pretty much a partner in power. But then, some experts have this other title for her, one that's a whole world away from the quiet, smiling sister. They're warning everyone not to underestimate her. So how on earth did she get a reputation that scary? That's really the big question we're digging into here. To understand the woman who could, one day, be leading a nuclear-armed country, you have to look past all the official propaganda and start piecing together the story of her quiet, calculated rise to the top.
So her story? It doesn't start in some grand palace in Pyongyang. Nope. It starts thousands of miles away, in a childhood that was completely wrapped in secrecy. And to really get a handle on the power she has today, we've got to go right back to the beginning. Okay, so picture this. From 1996 to 2000, Kim Yo Jong is living this secret life in Bern, Switzerland. She's going to school under a fake name, Park Mi-hyung. And guess who her classmate is? Her older brother, the future supreme leader, who's going by the name Park Un. They lived in just a normal, modest apartment, pretending to be ordinary kids. But behind that whole act was a massive state security operation, officials, family, even undercover bodyguards watching their every move. Being so isolated and so far from home, well, it created this unbreakable bond between the two of them, a bond that would become the very foundation of their political partnership.
So when she gets back to North Korea, she doesn't just get handed a top job. No way. She methodically built her power, piece by piece, from the ground up. This was a very, very calculated climb through the ranks of the regime.
And you can see just how smart her climb was. It all starts with a junior party job in 2007, but by 2012, when she's only 23, she's already her brother's tour manager. And that's a huge deal, controlling all his logistics and security. The real power move, though, came in 2014, when she became vice director of the propaganda and agitation department. Now, that's not just a media job, that's the nerve center for the regime's entire message, and she was right at the heart of it.
And this wasn't just some desk job. She was the architect of her brother's entire public image. She literally crafted his persona, meticulously modeling his look, his gestures, even his leadership style on their grandfather, Kim Il-sung, the founder of North Korea. She's the one who built the whole cult of personality that surrounds him today. For years, she was the power behind the throne, right? Operating from the shadows. But then, everything changed. The world started to see a whole new side of her as she went from quiet diplomat to ruthless political enforcer.
Remember the 2018 Winter Olympics in South Korea? That was her big coming out party on the world stage. She was the first member of the ruling Kim family to even step foot in the South since the Korean War. She was all smiles, totally captivating the global media and presenting this really friendly, diplomatic face for the regime. But looking back, experts now see this whole charm offensive as a brilliantly executed propaganda trap.
But the real shift, the moment everything really changed, was in April 2020. Kim Jong-un just disappeared, and it fueled all this crazy speculation about his health, maybe even that he had died. And in that power vacuum, a brand new and frankly shocking voice emerged from North Korea. And then, bam, her first official statement, issued in her own name. She called South Korea a frightened, barking dog. The language was just brutal and totally unprecedented. The message to the world couldn't have been clearer. If my brother is gone, I am absolutely ready and willing to take the throne.
And according to intelligence reports, her ruthlessness is not just talk. She's allegedly connected to some of the regime's most brutal acts. Sources claim she was the mastermind behind the 2013 execution of her own uncle, reportedly for not clapping hard enough. She's also been linked to the assassination of her half-brother and personally ordered the demolition of the Inter-Korean Liaison Office in 2020, which was a huge symbol of peace.
So that brings us to one of her most powerful weapons, her words. I mean, she uses rhetoric like a weapon, with a kind of harshness that honestly often seems to go even further than her brothers. Her official statements are basically a dictionary of insults. She's called people who flee North Korea scum and filthy insects. She dismissed President Joe Biden as an old man with no future, and she called a former South Korean president America's hungry dog. This isn't just someone being angry. It's a very deliberate communication style, designed to project strength and intimidate anyone who stands in her way.
So you put all this together, the proximity to power, the control over propaganda, the pure ruthlessness, and it all leads to one massive question about her future. Is she actually being groomed for the top job?
Today, she is, for all intents and purposes, the #2 leader in North Korea. She sits on the highest decision-making commission and has become the country's official mouthpiece. Now, issuing state pronouncements, that used to be a power reserved only for the supreme leader. The fact that she does it all the time now shows she's not just an advisor anymore. In many ways, she's a co-ruler.
You know, to really get a handle on what makes her so different, it helps to look back in time. Sure, there have been other ruthless female rulers, like China's Empress Wu Zetian or England's Bloody Mary Tudor. They had immense power, and they were definitely not afraid to get their hands dirty. But none of them had a nuclear arsenal. Yo Jong combines that same kind of absolute political control with access to the most destructive weapons on Earth, and that's a combination the world has literally never seen before.
And so that leaves us with this one really sobering question. She's risen from being a silent supporter to North Korea's most powerful and mysterious woman. But if her brother were to disappear for good, is the world truly prepared for what might come next? For a leader who could be even more ruthless, whose single command could wipe out cities, and whose anger could shake the entire world?